Hello and welcome to It's Only Electric. It's time for Leapmotor's official release here in Sweden together with Stellantis. And with me today I have two cars. To your right, the B10, a compact electric SUV. And to your left, the C10, slightly bigger mid-sized electric SUV. And this will be a brief introduction of each car, and of course I'm gonna drive them both. But I'm gonna divide this into two videos. In this video I will focus on the C10.
It's only electric.
Before we dive into the details, just some brief information about Stellantis and Leapmotor as a brand. Leapmotor has been around since 2015, and last year they actually sold almost 600,000 vehicles, making them one of the top 10 biggest EV makers in the world. So it's not a small company. Stellantis is leading the distribution and sales outside China, which means that they are utilizing their supply chains, their warehouses, their delivery centers, their stores, etc. for Leapmotor. That's a big leap. The intention is to start produce as many of their vehicles within Europe as possible. And first out is the production of the T03. That's the smallest car in the lineup, not available here today. But it's going to be produced locally in Europe. The next car in the lineup, which is going to be produced here, is the B10. The C10 is 20 centimeters longer than the B10, as I talked about in the earlier video. So this one measures 4.74 meters in total length with a wheelbase of 2.82 meters. So it's a bigger vehicle, and curb weight is starting from 2 tons if you look at the EV versions only. So it comes in 3 different versions. I will focus on the 2 fully electric ones, because the last one is a E-Rev version with a combustion engine charging the battery for extended range. So the entry-level car is a rear-wheel drive car only with a permanent magnet motor at the rear, putting out 220 kilowatts, 0 to 100 in 6 seconds, around that ballpark. The more powerful version does have 2 motors, companioned by a permanent magnet motor at the front, so total output almost 600 horsepower, 599, 440 kilowatts of output. Does 0 to 100 in 4 seconds flat. Both cars are powered by the same LFP battery pack with a capacity of 82 kilowatts. So I think the overall design of the C10 is a bit more grown up compared to the B10. You see, it's a bit more rounded, reminds me a bit of the hashtag 5, the smart hashtag 5. Still the closed grille with the front-facing camera. This time the headlight unit and the daylight running lights is incorporated into the same light unit. Here below you have some big air vents, makes it look a bit more aggressive. Fog lights here at the lower parts, black details. So I think this is, as I said, a bit more grown up. The C10 does have the charge port here at the left rear fender compared to the B10, which has it on the right fender. This may be because it comes as a E-Rev car too, with a combustion engine, but charge capacity for DC charging, fast charging, 800 volt support, 180 kilowatts of peak power, 30 to 80% in 22 minutes, so 10 to 80 probably in around half an hour. Home charging, 3-phase support, 11 kilowatts. When it comes to range, the maximum range version with the rear-wheel drive only does have 510 kilometers of WLTP range, whilst the all-wheel drive version has 437 kilometers. Here at the rear you see a lot of similarities to the B10, but again a bit more grown up. You open the boot from the same place, a button at the lower right part just below the daylight running lights. 485 liters of boot capacity for the fully electric versions. some storage underneath, foldable seats. Sadly, there's no true loading part here, so only a split of 40-60. Good thing though is that it folds flat, so plenty of storage capacity. You can equip it with a tow hitch with a total tow capacity of 1.5 tons. Let us check out the back seat of the C10, and this is the bigger among the two cars, of course. The front seat is adjusted after my driver position. I'm 193 centimeters tall, or 6'4", and as you see, there is plenty of legroom. I mean, there's no discussion whatsoever. I can travel very good here at this position. My knees are not touching, my legs are very easy to put underneath the front seat, even if it's in the lowest position. A bit of a straight seating position, and there is no way of adjusting the rear angle of the backrest. So this is the only position. When it comes to headroom, one fist, a bit more of headroom with the glass roof open, or I would say doesn't matter, because the area just behind the glass roof is what's the lowest point here, so still over one fist of headroom. Comfort wise, as you see, thigh support is not perfect as for many EVs, but still fine, I would say. Adjustable headrests in all three positions, fake leatherette perforated, no heating in this car at least. Central armrest, no cup holders, that's a bit odd. And as I said, no true loading functionality here, so not that practical here in Scandinavia. Material wise, I'm fairly impressed for this price point. I think soft touch here at the top, kind of Alcantara feel. The leatherette continues to the half part of the door. The lower half is hard plastics. But it feels solid, and the door sound, framed doors with a good closing sound, no rattling, feels solid. Plastic, I guess, but still good touch and feel to the power window controller, and everything feels tidy and fairly good materials, I would say. Glass roof standard with a curtain that you can close for shading out the sun or the cold. Today it's a bit cold, so I would probably close it later on to save and preserve some electricity when driving. So here at the center we have a dual screen setup, no head-up display. The central media screen is 14.6 inch touchscreen, of course. Looks very similar to some of the functions and menus that you're used to in like Tesla, Xpeng, Zeekr, etc. Central instrument cluster of 10.25 inch, finely placed in between the spokes, so a two-spoke steering wheel setup horizontally with touch buttons at each side. To the right you have the media controls, voice control, but also toggling of the content of the right side of the instrument cluster. To the left you have the driving aid systems, but also lock and unlock the doors. Heated steering wheel, heated seats, cooled seats here at the front. Material wise, speaker grills at the top, Alcantara soft touch materials, kind of a multi-layer dashboard with the digital air vents crossing the whole dashboard. Same materials as in the rear, the Alcantara top, soft touch, leatherette. Nice touch and feel to the power controllers here. Hard plastics with a place for storage like bottles, etc. The mid console floats through the front area with a Qi charger, but also an NFC card holder if you don't have the car key or the phone key. And that's a good thing. Application Leapmotor app works as a digital key, exactly as in a Tesla, for instance. Many brands are still missing that functionality. So you'll probably never use this because it works pretty good, I must say. Storage here with two USB-C port or one USB-C port, 60 watts, and one USB-A port, 12 volt outlet. Mid armrest is cushioned. You have some storage here, two cup holders, companion, but the two cup holders here, because as I said, at the rear you don't have a cup holder inside the armrest, you have them here instead, companioned by two manual air ventilations and one USB-C port and one USB-A port for the rear passengers. Seat-wise, there is no extendable thigh support, there is powered seats, both positions. You can adjust them both here on the screen, but also, of course, on the sides here. Same soft touch leatherette. So inside the C10, driving it for the first time, my immediate feeling is that this is a bigger car than the B10, obviously. But it also feels, when driving it, it feels a bit more settled, it feels a bit heavier. You feel that this is a bigger and more like comfortable, more family-oriented car. One thing is the materials we just went through, the cabin, the layout of things. It's more classic, it's more a bit more like not as young and digital as in the B10. Feel of the steering wheel, it's on the sport setting. Bit of a different layout on the screen here, so the software is not exactly the same. I mean, first off, the instrument cluster is fixed to the dashboard, which is looks-wise better, but it's not as easy to get the optimal view of the screen. So for instance, now I have the steering wheel a bit too low, because this one is possible to lower more than in the B10, and that's good, because I like that. It's a more restful position when driving. The layout is a bit different, the information on the screen is a bit different, and unfortunately this exact car is not the EV version. It's EV, but it's extended range EV, so it has a small combustion engine that puts out power to charge the battery. It doesn't drive the car. There's still only an electric motor at the rear, so putting out 218 horsepower, the same motor as in the B10. So the motor, the combustion engine, petrol engine, does not power the rear wheels. It does only charge the battery to extend range. And with that setup, you can get over 800 or over 900 kilometers of total range if you let the combustion engine charge the battery pack. So instead of putting in a big battery pack, they shrink the battery pack to 28 kilowatt hours instead of 81, and then put in a petrol tank and a small petrol motor engine. So you have different drive modes depending on that. I mean, I tried to get a full EV without the range extender, but they didn't have any press cars available for that yet. So I will still wait and get the right car for me later on. But this is what I could cover now. But then you have EV Plus, EV, fuel, and power. So different settings. So if I put it into fuel, I will hear the motor start, the engine start, powers up. And now I actually hear the motor spinning, generating energy to charge the battery pack. When put to Power Plus and when I floor it, it starts revving the motor. Nothing happens. You still have the same output on the rear wheels. And to be honest, 218 horsepower is a bit too weak for this weight. It feels sluggish, to be honest. That's a bit sad. I want it to be a bit more nippy, so I'm looking forward to test the rear-wheel drive fully electric version with 299 horsepower, or even better, all-wheel drive 599 horsepower version. But I want to keep it on EV because I don't like that, that's not my cup of tea. I mean, put in a proper battery pack instead of extending the range with a petrol motor. That's not, and I don't think that's the right way of going. But with that said, I still think this is an option that's valid for many people on the market. And for people that has this range anxiety, you don't need to have that with this car. You don't need to have that with an EV, proper EV either, but you know what I'm trying to say. Car-wise, it's a nice vehicle. I mean, it's clearly a bigger car, even more family-oriented than the B10, with slightly more legroom, bigger cabin. This is wider though, so the legroom for the driver is not as good as in the B10. That's a bit sad. You have a single Qi charger, as I mentioned. The air vents are digital, so you need to adjust them on the screen. You can like do that from here. Adjust every single air vent as you want to have it, but I want to put it on auto. The menus is not exactly the same. I mean, the drive modes work a bit different. For instance, you have custom, comfort, sport, and custom. And in custom, you can set the acceleration to stable and robust. For me, stable is the same thing as robust. I don't understand the difference. You have region, minimal, standard. You have steering mode, comfort, standard, sport. Set to sport now. You can toggle those settings by the quick button here. You have a customizable button on the steering wheel. If you press that once, you will activate your favorite functions. For instance, now it jumped into sport and it turned off all the warning systems. If you press it twice, you can activate another function. In this case, it's set to the side view mirrors adjustment. You can customize that, and you find that on the driving steering wheel customization button, and you have two settings: single click, double click, and a different kind of number of options for those two. You have the same type of applications still. Think this is based on Android Automotive. You have applications built into the car. For instance, navigation works good for the short time I've tested it. You have interesting things like Spotify, built-in native application, works really good. You have the radio application. You have something called nap. It's like recreation or like energizing mode. You have smart things like scenarios. That's the collective name for different modes. Guard mode is like when you leave someone, a kid or a dog in the car, you activate guard mode instead of call it dog mode. It keeps the AC on. Cleaning mode, when you enter a car wash, it locks down the car the right way. You have camp mode, keeps the AC on when camping, for instance. Demo mode, vehicle off power supply, so you can crank out some juice from the car even if you are in standstill. Even more interesting than that, you have something called automation routines. This is interesting. Same kind of function as Xpeng and Neo has. It's kind of if then do that, you know, that automation thing. So you can schedule behaviors depending on happenings or triggers, events. They will eventually turn out into scenarios and like actions. So I can create a new scenario where the scenario is triggered when it meets a certain set of conditions. For instance, you can set the if the front left window is fully open, I wanted to set the ventilation mode to face blowing. That makes sense. No, it doesn't. I just want to show you that you can set up scenarios, trigger scenarios to make life slightly easier. Very smart function. The E-Rev version does not come to a full stop when using region, so the region is set to standard, whatever that means. When set to minimal, it doesn't coast. It's less region, but it doesn't coast. When set to standard, it doesn't come to a full stop, so it doesn't have the ability of one pedal driving. Not sure about the full EV version. Hopefully it works the same way as the B10. But it keeps rolling. Yeah, you know the drill. But overall, I think it feels a bit less modern than the B10 does. And I'm trying to like not think of the range extender motor. I'm trying to see it as a car in a whole, and I think like the interior, the layout, the drive feel to the car, the technology doesn't feel as like crisp as it does in the B10. The B10 is more similar to cars like Zeekr X, for instance. That's kind of a refreshing car. But this feels a bit older in that manner. Maybe that's the purpose. But if you're into the market of e-revs, this might be a really good alternative for you. I would wait for the full electric version. Test that one first. But it's still a refreshing add-on to the market. And I think I have a hard time placing Leapmotor among the pack of Stellantis different brands under their umbrella. How the strategy will be, I'm not sure. Where they will place it, I'm not sure. But they're trying to like market it as a EV brand or like digital technology brand, tech brand, because they seem to be good at handling software. It's so very software oriented. Application, I've tested both for the B10 and the C10, works very good. I mean, you never need to use the key card. You have everything in your phone, like in a Tesla. Works very conveniently. Worked every time for me. Unlocks when you approach, locks when you leave it. Very easy to like start the ventilation, preconditioning of the car from the application. Is responsive. It does what you tell it to do. It's good. It's among the better ones I have tested out. And that's always refreshing to see brands that can manage the software both in the car but also in the phone. I mean, you need to be able to own the whole digital journey of your customers. Then you need to have good phone applications. And the screens feel responsive. There is a lot of settings, menus, but still it's easy to use. Price-wise, the cars comes like in kind of an all-inclusive setting, so you get all the equipment. The E-Rev version is the cheapest version, so 409,000 Swedish crowns. That's around like 38,000 euros. The rear-wheel drive fully electric version, 429,000 Swedish crowns. That's 39,000 euros. And then you have the maxed out all-wheel drive powerful version, 450,000 Swedish crowns. That's around 42,000 euros. It's very competitively priced, and they really try to distinguish this one from the B10 as a more premium choice. But I think the B10 is very affordable. I mean, it's like the B10 is 10,000 euros cheaper than the maxed out C10. That's a lot. And the B10 is a great car. This will really stir up the market. Kind of a price war. And that's what Leapmotor is trying to do. Creating affordable EVs for the masses. For real this time. Together with Stellantis, they may have a chance to take a grip of the European market, grow, take market shares here, maybe attract new type of customers that's not that brand loyal, because they are in it for the price and in it for the transition to EVs. Then Leapmotor is maybe a very good choice. You also have kind of the backup from Stellantis here. Spare parts. They have their European warehouses with spare parts. They have the logistics set up, service centers, distribution, sales. Everything is like already present, which like helps Leapmotor do kind of a kickstart, but most importantly creates big kind of like security for the consumer. I bet it feels a lot more safe to buy a Leapmotor today than to buy like new brands with their own setup. So that was my initial review and test drive of the Leapmotor C10. And hopefully I will get it for a longer loaner for a week to test it out more throughoutly, do range tests, do charge tests, you know the drill. So hopefully soon videos about that. But until then, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, engage into the comment section. Please hype the video to help me spread and grow my channel. Ask me questions, share your thoughts about the C10. And as always, stay electric. Thank you for watching, speak to you soon.